all the windows are up, and we're ready to go. So today, we're doing things way different, something we haven't really done that much before, and that's reviewing multiple movies at once. Pow, 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 with a bunch of explosions on the screen, but we might not because I don't want to edit that much. But we're going to talk about a few different things, and the first one up is going to be, drumroll please. If you're not drumrolling along, you're kind of lame. But we're going to talk about Marry Me, the movie that came out, I think, on Valentine's Day in theaters and also on Amazon Prime. And I watched it on Amazon Prime with my mom a few days ago, and it's a pretty decent rom-com. I had a lot of fun with it. I didn't have much expectations going into it. J-Lo's the star of it, and she is about to marry another guy when she finds out that he is cheating on her. Him being another pop star, they're both popular pop stars, and they're about to get married in front of a big group of people in an online stream of millions and millions of people, and she decides to not marry that guy and instead marry some random guy in the crowd that turned out to be Owen Wilson. Yeah, Lightning McQueen himself's in this movie, and he's good. He's funny, and that's all he kind of needed to be. He was kind of just a average Joe teacher kind of guy that went to this concert that he didn't even know who the lady was, and he ended up getting married to her. And it's a classic kind of like, you can kind of predict what's going to happen. They kind of go back and forth. They get not really, I don't know if they get divorced. I don't really know what happens. I forget. But they get away from each other, and I'm not going to spoil the ending, but you can probably guess where it goes from there because it's a rom-com. But on my 5-star rating scale, it's a solid like 3. Did I rate it a 3.5? No, 3. 3 out of 5. If you're a fan of rom-coms, it might even be a 5 out of 5 for you. I thought it was a really fun time, so go check it out if you like, and I think you might like. And we're going to move on from there. We'll talk briefly about the Retaliators that I watched. Also a movie that came out in 2022, which all these movies will be that. And I liked it. I kind of wish I would have went and saw it in the drive-in, which I planned on doing, but never got over there, unfortunately. But it's a really interesting horror movie. I wouldn't say it's fun, but it started off as like a revenge thriller, and then it turned into a horror movie, which I honestly had no idea what this movie was going in, other than it was kind of advertised as a horror, but didn't watch any of the trailers or anything. It was kind of just a poster and seeing the genre on IMDb, but I liked it. It's kind of the story of this preacher who has some things going on in his life that are very, very unfortunate, and then another thing happens right at the beginning of the movie, and it kind of sets him on his trajectory of, is he going to stay being the good priest that he is, or is he going to seek justice and some retaliation? And that's kind of what this movie's about the whole time. It's very gritty and grindhouse. If you're a fan of like darker 70s and 80s horror movies and some crime revenge thrillers, check this one out. It's not my favorite. There's a lot of people in different bands that show up in it that are kind of awkward at times because they'll literally play like Five Finger Death Punch. They're all in the movie, and their music's playing in the background of like a strip club they're all in, and it's just really awkward because like, are we supposed to know that you're from Five Finger Death Punch? Are you acting right now? Like, what's going on? And it felt kind of off, but they're in there. The lead singer from Ice Nine Kills I recognized was in there. The lead singer from Papa Roach was in there. Jacoby Shaddix, shout out to you. You were fine. It's just a good movie. It wasn't like anything special. I think I rated that one a 3 out of 5 as well. So if you're a fan of any of that stuff, maybe check it out and see what you like. And moving on from there, one that I really, really enjoyed that's actually on Netflix right now. So if you like what I say about it, go check it out right now. And that is Do Revenge. Now, if you know me, I'm a huge fan of Mean Girls. And Do Revenge is kind of a modern retaking, kind of retelling actually, of the beats of Mean Girls, but honestly updated to this Gen Z millennial type dialogue and situations that people would be in now rather than 20 years ago when Mean Girls came out. Holy shit, 20 years ago. Regardless, I really enjoyed this movie. I thought all the dialogue was hilarious. The two main girls, I forget both of their names. Maya Hawke is one of them actually, Uma Thurman and Ethan Hawke's daughter. She's fantastic. The girl that plays Veronica in Riverdale, I'm sorry I'm blanking on her name, but she was also fantastic. And the rest of the cast, I mean, the guy that's been in so much stuff, he was in like, he played Ethan in, what's that HBO show with Zendaya, I forget, but he played Ethan in that show, which he had a fantastic episode in the last season, if you haven't seen that. He does a play in that show, and he's just a phenomenal actor, and he plays a perfect asshole in this movie. So if you like high school comedies and very ridiculous humor, and you love just laughing, Do Revenge is a solid 4 out of 5 for me, and honestly, I almost want to bump it up to a 5 out of 5, just because I enjoyed it that much, and it can honestly see a place, honestly, right now in my top 10 of the year. It was that much fun, so please check it out and let me know what you think of it, because Do Revenge, pretty solid. So I will touch on this just a little bit because I don't have a whole bunch to say about it, but that is Fantastic Beasts and the Secrets of Dumbledore. Now, I liked it. I've liked all of the Fantastic Beasts movies, and I'm a huge Harry Potter fan, but I didn't love this one as much as I've loved the other ones. I thought it was definitely way too long, with it being, I think, like over 2.5 hours long. A lot of it felt overdone, overdrawn out, and I liked certain parts of it. I liked all the cast for the most part, even Mads Mikkelsen taking over for Johnny Depp. I would have loved to see Johnny Depp in the story more, but I think he was a great addition and a great replacement for Johnny, because I love Mads Mikkelsen as well, and he stepped into the role of Grindelwald fantastic. And the story that they're telling here with Dumbledore and Grindelwald, I personally really enjoyed it, and I thought it brought more to the character of Dumbledore that we already know, but didn't really get to know so much about him. So now that we have so much more and we know more about his past life going into Harry Potter and all those movies and the stories and books, and if you read those books, definitely tell me in the comments because I'm a huge book nerd. But anyway, I thought it was a fine movie. I think I rated it 3 out of 5 too, but it might even drop lower than that, unfortunately, but it could go higher. But I don't know when I'll ever watch it again just because it's so long, and honestly, a lot of the story didn't feel that necessary, especially if they're going on with 4 and 5, which I think I saw. Do I need more of the story? I don't think so. I think we have enough of Newt Scamander, and I'd really like to see more about Harry Potter. Maybe? The movie I'm talking about today that I actually just got out of seeing in the movie theater right over there, and that is the new Cate Blanchett movie, Tár. Now, if you've never heard of Tár, honestly, I hadn't either. I knew very little about it. I saw my friend Adam, who I do the Adam and Steve podcast with, subscribe, and he saw it. He liked it a lot. I think he gave it a 5 out of 5 and was ranting all about it, so I want to check it out as soon as possible, and today was that day. Now, was it as great as Adam said it was, in my opinion? No. It started off very slow. It got to a point where I was very invested, and I liked the story. I liked where everything was going, and Cate Blanchett is fantastic in it, but it was so slow in the beginning that I honestly almost checked out completely. I knew it was kind of purposeful, and the camera is great in this movie. I'll say that right away. It kind of almost feels like a character in itself of how it follows characters in and out of rooms, and it's moving so often that you almost feel like you're in some of the scenes with these people. And it kind of works in that way because this movie is very much a slow burn look into this woman's life, and I think she's like the most popular composer, like almost of all time, like most accomplished woman composer of all time, and it's a very interesting story because she has some different things in her past that get brought up that honestly show that she's not maybe as great as people want to think she is. She has a lot of flaws, and as the story unfolds, we learn more and more about Tár, and it's a very, very interesting movie. So if any of that interests you, like I said, great cinematography, the music. If you're a fan of classical music, this movie has some of the best you'll hear all year. The orchestra sounds fantastic. All of the scenes where she's directing the orchestra, whoever directed this movie, I forget their name, they definitely seem like they're a big fan of music and everything like that, because everything I know about music, which is not a whole lot, these scenes feel very authentic to those settings, and I was only in high school band for like a week. No, I take that back. I was in middle school band for like a year, and I was in 6th grade band for a week, so do with that what you will, but I know a little bit of trumpet and a little bit less of trombones. So I know music, and this movie was fun. It wasn't anything that special. Again, with that rating that keeps coming out of nowhere, I rated it a 3. I think I might rate it a 3.5. No, actually I gave it a 4, and I stand by that. I think it's a very well-made movie. Is it for me? It wasn't. Do I think it's for everyone else that's loving it so far? Absolutely, and I love that people are loving this movie, but for me, it was just a little too slow, and I just couldn't get into it that well. Now, I did lose myself a little bit in the last 20 minutes when it came to really focusing in on what was going on, and maybe that's my own fault, and maybe it's the movie's fault, but I can't wait to rewatch it again just to see that and make sure my feelings are accurate. But what are your thoughts on the movie? I know mine are probably much different, and let me know what you think in the comments. And that goes for everything that I've just talked about. I'm done talking for today. If you have anything to say, it helps me out a ton just to write it in the comments. We can have a conversation about it. And if you want to see more videos like this, let me know down there too. And subscribe to the channel, like the video, subscribe to the Adam and Steve show. We're going to get another one out there pretty soon, I think. So if any of that sounds good to you, do it. And thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next time at the movies.